विंध्य महाराज की जय। बोल बोल पंजे वाले की जय। सर्वे सुंदर साथ की जय। Let's say the prayer together. सच्चिदानंद रूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादि हेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। परमानन्दमाधवम्। श्रीकृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। प्रेम प्रणाम। Okay. We're meeting after a short break. So, previously, I think we had concluded chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita, in which Sri Krishna was talking about the Karma Sannyas Yoga. And now we're going to start with the 6th chapter, which is called Dhyana Yoga. Dhyan, as we understand, is meditation. So, in this chapter, Sri Krishna will deeply explain as to what dhyan or what meditation is all about. He has mentioned those yogis who need to do dhyan on a daily basis and for quite a few hours in a day, so that their mind becomes focused and steady. Now, before I actually go into dhyan, I will give you a small brief background regarding what Sri Krishna is telling in the 6th chapter. First of all, previously also we have understood what is Karma Yoga. We have also understood what is Sannyas. These are the two paths that Sri Krishna has been talking to about, and he has been revealing it to Arjuna. Karma Yoga, just for our recollection, is when you do all your worldly activities as you're doing now, yet with the attitude of surrendering it to the Lord. Whatever I am doing is a part of my duty, and I am going to surrender it to the Lord Sri Krishna. Now, your mind is not in the fruits of the results, because you know for sure I have surrendered everything. Krishna will take care of it, isn't it? That is karma yoga. Doing the transactions with the attitude of surrender to the Lord. The second path is sannyas. As we know, sannyas is renunciation of activities physically, which means I will not do a particular task. I will not cook. I will not read. I will not eat. Whenever I say this, which means I am giving up the activity. There is a physical renunciation. So Krishna has been discussing with Arjun regarding both these paths. Now, in this chapter, the comparative evaluation between Karma Yoga on one hand and Karma Sannyas on the other hand still goes on. Because now, in this particular chapter, Sri Krishna is making it very clear for Arjun as to Karma Yoga is definitely better than merely sannyas or merely renouncing worldly activities. Therefore, Sri Krishna says it is a more practicable path. The reason given here is so beautiful. Please listen to this very carefully. As we do the shlokas, the verses, we will study it more in depth. But right now, I'm just briefing the concept for you all. It says that why is Karma Yoga better than sannyas? So Sri Krishna says that whenever a person does all his activities. You may be a doctor, a teacher, you may be an engineer or a student or a housewife, whatever you are, a businessman. You do all your activities, surrender it to the Lord, and you are unattached to the fruits. The state of your mind becomes purified by doing or practicing Karma Yoga. And this purified mind will help you to advance spiritually. So that is why Sri Krishna says that first the mind has to be purified. The beauty of this chapter is that Sri Krishna also explains how the mind is performing in our life. Is it a friend or a foe? Should we befriend the mind, or should the mind be considered as an enemy? These concepts are going to be revealed by Sri Krishna. So it's a beautiful chapter. The first step, please remember, in short, is to purify the mind through Karma Yoga. The second step is the mind should reach a tranquil state. When I say a tranquil state, it means peaceful state. The agitation, anxieties, fear, wrath, all that is nothing but what material resides in the mind. If you do not allow all this, the mind is so calm and so peaceful. That is what Sri Krishna is preaching in the sixth chapter. Now, let us go on to the verses. I will quickly share my notes with you so that just allow me a minute. Now, whatever I said just now, I will give you this content also, the introduction part of it, and then we begin with the verses. Now, we begin with the verses. As we discussed, the sannyasis and the karma yogis. I hope everyone is clear with the concept of who are the sannyasis and who are the karma yogis. Should I ask it so that I am assured that you all have understood it properly? First of all, starting with who are karma yogis, or you may just explain what is karma yoga. My question to all of you.
Karma Yoga is when you do all your duties, but you surrender them to the Lord and you don't get attached to the fruits.
Beautiful answer. Yes, I'm correct. And okay, and now anyone else who can answer what is sannyas, the path of sannyas? Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Is it where you attempt to reject as much worldly actions as possible?
Yes, correct. That is at the physical level. The renunciation is not mental, but more physical. So now the third question to all of you is that whether Sri Krishna is supporting the path of karma yoga or the sannyas. in his comparative evaluation of Karma Yoga and the sannyas path. Which path does Sri Krishna prefer? Yes, yes,
Shri Krishna prefers the path of Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga, correct. Okay, how about the others? Are you able to understand what we spoke so far? Because this was a very easy question. I expect responses from all of you. Okay, so I'm proceeding now to the first verse, which I have already given you. In this, Sri Krishna is explaining as to who are the legitimate sannyasis. In answer to this, Sri Krishna explains to Arjun, saying that when you perform all your prescribed duties and yet you surrender it without expecting its fruit, that is actually a legitimate sannyasi. Not that I am not going to do this. You sit down with folded hands. You do it, but surrender the fruits and the result upon the Lord. That is a true or a legitimate sannyasi, Sri Krishna says. So here you can also see that Krishna has taken our mind above the physical renunciation. And he further says that only if you cease the actions of the body, that is merely not enough. I think I may have shared one story with you, but I still want to repeat because it explains or it serves that purpose over here. There were two friends, and one night they were lost in the forest. So they could not cross over the forest and they were sitting so that early morning they can again start their journey. So one of the friends thought of some evil deeds during night. The other friend did not join him in doing that. But when the first friend was actually engaging in some evil deeds, the second friend, although he was physically unattached, however, in his mind, all through the night, he was contemplating upon that only. What evil deeds my friend must be doing, and what enjoyment he must be having, all sorts of things. What happens is the first friend, he physically got engaged, but the second friend, he did not physically engage but was mentally engaged. Therefore, Krishna says, even if the first friend did it physically, he accepts that I did it. He admits there is a mistake. I did some evil deeds. The second friend did not admit of doing them. However, he was still doing it because mentally, all the while, he was thinking of that. In short, what I mean to say is mentally, you should contemplate upon the Lord and not the evil deeds. Physically, if you are renouncing the evil deeds, mentally also you have to renounce. So merely physically renouncing anything does not make sense. Mentally also you have to renounce the bad or the evil things. Now, the second verse says that it's actually a question of Arjuna, which Sri Krishna is anticipating and says that whether Karma Yoga and Sannyas, both these paths are the same or not. So Sri Krishna says that, of course, it is the same. In sannyas, you renounce physically. In karma yoga, you renounce upon surrendering it to the Lord. If one has to become a sannyasi, he will definitely have to practice surrendering to the Lord. Therefore, Sri Krishna says that they are non different. Karma yoga in the sannyas yoga. So this is very depth, dear friends. Krishna explains it so smoothly, so effortlessly. However, the topic is really in depth. So after this, Krishna is now mainly giving importance to karma yoga as far as possible. And I tell you, dear friends, in our Srimukh Vani also, what is the anthem of Sri Pranaji? He has always been repeating, Seva e tame pamso par. You will transcend the worldly ocean with seva only. No matter how much ever knowledge you amass, no matter how much ever wealth you have, but these things will in fact restrict you in the world. Seva will allow you to transcend the worldly ocean. It has that power. Now let me connect Karma Yoga to Seva. When you do Seva to somebody, what is the intention? The person to whom you are doing the Seva must benefit. If that person benefits, yes, you think that your Seva is accomplished, is fulfilled. But if a person after doing Seva keeps on thinking that, yes, I have done this Seva, I have done this Seva, I will get the fruits of this Seva, doesn't make sense. The one who has done seva should do and simply forget about it. Leave it to the Lord. That is the attitude of seva. The same thing in Karma Yoga. If you see, you are a housewife or a businessman, a father, mother, whatever you are, you do all your duties towards the child and the family, everyone, the society. Despite of doing that, you just renounce the fruits and leave it to the Lord, knowing that the Lord is noticing every single act that you're doing. Yet you do not have to reveal to Him. If you were doing the same thing in the office, you should have taken a big report of all your activities and submitted in the office to the boss or somebody. But for Krishna, you need not do that. He knows everything, isn't it? So this is the path of Karma Yoga and this is the path of Seva, which Pranaji has also taught us. Krishna says, through Karma Yoga, you become purified because your mind will be unattached to anything in the world. Through Seva, Sri Pranaji teaches us Seva. What happens is, when we do something good to somebody, that good will come back to you someday or the other. But you are not expecting it. The fruits are already submitted. So, this is how there is a comparison of Karma Yoga and Seva as explained by Sri Pranaji in Vani. Now, I will further give you the third verse onwards. Okay. Now, in the third verse, Sri Krishna says that what leads you to perfection in the practice of Karma Yoga? As I said, you may be a student or whatever you are, and you are practicing Karma Yoga because now that you have come to know about Bhagavad Gita, you will start practicing it and you will love to practice that. However, that is practicing on a day to day basis. Now, here Sri Krishna is talking about how to attain perfection in Karma Yoga. See the word. I tell you, as far as Hindi or Sanskrit is considered, there are such beautiful words. However, when actually we try to correlate with the English words, we do not find such a heavy or such an equivalent word of that. The word for perfection in Sanskrit which Krishna uses is siddhi. When you practice a certain thing and you keep practicing it for 12 years, one attains siddhi or perfection. It is said, if you do not lie, you do not say any false things for 12 years, if you do not see anything bad for 12 years continuously, or if you do not listen to any bad thing for 12 years, after 12 years, please listen to this very carefully. After 12 years, you attain a state of perfection that's called Siddhi in Sanskrit, wherein whatever the person attaining the Siddhi says is fulfilled, is fructified. If there is sunshine, and if the person says it is going to rain the next moment, immediately it starts raining. That is the power in the person. That's what I'm trying to say. Therefore, I was just trying to highlight practicing a certain thing and attaining the state of perfection. What is the difference? So, in the third verse, Krishna says, if you keep on practicing this karma yoga and then you reach the state of perfection, what actually leads you to the state of perfection? Krishna says that the soul who is aspiring for perfection in karma yoga or yoga, he should work without attachment and surrender the fruits to the Lord. Whatever, if I'm studying, cooking, looking after my children, or looking after my family as a father, whichever respective roles I am playing here, my mind should be focused on doing all my transactions sincerely, properly, yet unattached with the fruits. This is the beauty which Sri Krishna teaches us. Firstly, we may find it difficult, but once you start putting it into practice, you will notice you would love it. Because even you do the difficult most things, your mind is still free from the results, free from anxiety, free from any fears. That is what Sri Krishna says. This is the mind of a yogi, focused on the activities, not on the fruits. So, by doing this, he attains the state of perfection in Karma Yoga. And further, the next question is, what are the means for the one who has already elevated in yoga? If one is already in a state where he is a perfectionist of this karma yoga, what else can he do to elevate his mind? Now, the final thing is that he has to attain tranquility of the mind. Tranquility, if you see the meaning of it, it is peacefulness of the mind. But merely saying peacefulness does not make sense. Tranquility is where the mind is not only peaceful, but also focused, completely set on the target. So now Sri Krishna says that that sage who has already attained perfection in Karma Yoga, he will be focusing his mind upon the Lord and his mind will be tranquil, peaceful. How can he achieve this? Through meditation. The tricks, or you may say the techniques that one should adopt during meditation are also highlighted in this chapter itself. So we'll very soon see them. I have met so many people who keep saying, as we sit for meditation, the mind starts running away. It starts wandering in several places. However, how do we control the mind and bring it back on the target when we meditate? Krishna says here, the mind becomes jittery, the mind becomes unfocused because it has so many things within itself. That is what we understood as mindful, Full. But in order to give up all those thoughts and to be focused upon the Lord when you meditate, it is required that our mind should be Full. So, all these techniques of meditation, Sri Krishna will teach. But the first step before even you start meditating like a yogi, you should meditate, of course, at your own level every day. But when you meditate as a yogi, your mind should be completely free of all those attachments. Otherwise, definitely when you sit down, you want to focus upon Sri Raji, you want to focus upon Sri Krishna ji, and your mind is wandering in several places. If the mind is free, then only it will be able to focus. So here, in the next verse, who is said to be elevated in yoga? Then the answer to this is when one is neither attached to the sense objects nor to the actions. Such a person is said to be elevated in the science of yoga, having renounced all the desires for fruits of the actions. But here, if you notice the words, when one is neither attached to sense objects nor to actions. First of all, what are the sense objects? That is the main thing that we need to understand here. I'll just give you what are the sense objects. If you look at this, the sense objects, they are like the external stimuli, colors, sound, the smells, tastes, and textures. Which means we understand our sense organs are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the skin. These are the 5 sense organs. Through these 5 sense organs, whatever we perceive, whatever we intake, that is called as the sense objects. Is this clear for everyone? Any questions about this? Okay. So the eyes would love to see different colors. That is its sense object. The ears would like to listen to music and to beautiful sounds. Similarly, the nose would like to smell the aroma or the fragrance. The tongue would love to taste a variety of foods. The skin would love different smooth and beautiful textures. In this manner, these five sense organs have got the corresponding five sense objects. Now, coming back to what Krishna is saying in the fourth verse, you need to be unattached to the sense objects. Even when I am living, I am doing all my activities, I should not be attached with the sense objects. Why? Because the knowledge of Gita, the teachings of Sri Krishna have made it very crystal clear for us that all these sense objects are transient. They give you gratification, but it is temporary. Therefore, if you merely run after them and you skip the long term goal of your life, then you will be stuck with the sense objects only. You will always try to gratify the senses with something or the other. However, please understand, the more you try to satisfy the senses, the more demanding they become. There is not a single day where the senses do not demand from us. But more and more you fulfill the demands, and the more and more it'll ask. For those who have a Gujarati background, એક કહેવત છે ગુજરાતીમાં આગમાં ઘી પૂરવાનું. You know, if you have lit up a lamp, or if you are doing a yajna, a sacrifice, in that the ghee is put, the ghee is poured, the fire will lit up even more after that. So you are not trying to extinguish the fire by putting ghee into it, rather it is growing more. The fire here I'm talking about is the want of the sense objects. Therefore, Krishna says that who can be elevated in yoga? The one who is completely withdrawing himself from the sense objects. This is a very high stage for us now. If we listen to it, we may feel, oh my God, what is it? But it is a very, very high stage which one can attain in his life. But it will come slowly after practicing Karma Yoga. So, when that person is not focused upon the sense objects, when that person is also not focused upon his own actions or the fruits of the actions, he is considered to be elevated in the path of Karma Yoga. Is it becoming clear for you all? Any questions? Okay. Now, there is a beautiful, beautiful shlok, and it is so practical for everyone on this earth. I just feel that everyone on this planet should know Bhagavad Gita. The reason being, everyone has a mind. The mind can be either a friend or a foe. What is it? So, here, if you see in the fifth verse, Krishna says, how can one elevate himself? Where is the power to elevate yourself? In one of the verses, I mean the fifth verse, he says, Atmaiva hyatmano bandhur. Atmaiva ripuratmanah. There are two words if you notice. The first word is bandhur. The second word is ripur. Bandhur means a friend. Ripur means a foe, an enemy. Therefore, Krishna says, with the power of the mind, you have to elevate yourself, because you need not use the mind to degrade yourself, demotivate yourself. The, f- the mind can be your friend, your bestie, or it could be your foe, your enemy. Now, what do you choose to make it? Obviously, we need to make the mind our best friend. However, how can we make the mind the best friend and not our enemy? The trick is that when you have to befriend the mind, you need to give it something which it will really love. A simple instance, you go to your college or school, you find some new individuals and you think that I should befriend them. What will you do? You talk to them in a very good manner, you help them, you extend your support, they become your good friends. In the same way, the mind is there within us and it is so powerful. If you want to befriend the mind, make it conducive. You talk to the mind, have a conversation with the mind that now we're going to be good friends. I am focused upon the Lord. I worship the Lord. You also have to worship the Lord along with me because you are my instrument. If you do not focus upon the Lord, you will disturb me. Therefore, understanding I am the soul, I am talking with the mind. Can you imagine this conversation between the soul and the mind? So the soul says to the mind, I want to befriend you. You're going to become my best friend, for which both of us have to be focused upon the Lord. And then the mind replies to the soul, I have so much of fear. I have so many anxieties. I'm so excited. What should I do? How can I focus upon the Lord? The soul says to the mind, you have to give up all the anxieties and fears, etc. How can you do that? Practice what Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita. O mind, you need not be attached to the fruits of the actions. Just keep doing it with sincerity. You know your role. Do your uh, transactions, your duties with sincerity, and then leave the fruits to the Lord. Practice this every day in every transaction, and all your fears, anxieties, everything will be reduced. Finally, it'll be gone. It will vanish. So, in this manner, the soul interacts with the mind and befriends the mind. Now, on the part of mind, what is happening is since it becomes one with the soul, in its own self, it is very powerful. But when it gets the power of the soul in it becomes even more powerful. Imagine if you have some powers in your hand and some more powers are given to you. You become even more powerful. You would love it. The same thing happens to the mind. The mind enjoys the power of itself as well as the soul with it. Therefore, there is a win-win situation. The soul enjoys the company of the mind also enjoys the company of the soul. When they go hand in hand, they are united, both of them will benefit. But if you do not befriend the mind in this way, the mind is so jittery, it's full of fears, anxieties, excitement, and all those things. It will drag you down if you start advancing spiritually. Therefore, it becomes an enemy for us. Now, I'll share a very beautiful verse with you. I think I have given it to you, what Mahamati Sri Prannaji says in Vani in the same context. If you see the words, Mahamati Sri Prannaji says that Sab man mein na kachu man mein, which means everything that you know or you think about is there in the mind itself. One fine day, I go to some gathering and people do not respond properly. My mind says, I was insulted, I was ignored. All those things are also in the mind. A person who is positive, he will go and he will himself engage with the people in the gathering. And then he proves himself, yes, I met the people over there. They could not ignore me. That is the mindset. If the mind wants to be negative, it will see all negative things. If the mind wants to be positive, it will see all the positive things. So it just depends what the mind is looking at. How does it view all the things? So Pranaji says, sab, which means everything. Man mein is there in the mind, good, bad. Na kachu man mein. Immediately then he says, the mind could also be an empty mind, a vacant mind. How come? When it gives up all the choices, when it gives up all the anxieties and fears, then the mind becomes empty of all of them. This is how an empty mind is. An empty mind does not mean it is not focused or something. It is empty because there are no negative thoughts in it. Further, Sri Pranaji says, Khali man mein Brahma. This mind could be empty, Khali. And in such a mind, Brahma is there because the mind is focused upon Brahma. Therefore, महामत मन को सोई देखे जिन दृष्टि खुद खसम. In such a mind which is vacant and focused upon the Lord, Mahamati Sri Pranaji says, there itself Lord is reflected in the mind. I hope you understand. In such an empty mind, the Lord is seated. So, I have a mind. Now, I need to train the mind. In short, that is it. Make it fearless, free from anxieties, negative emotions, grief. It is not a storehouse where you can just keep on loading all those sad memories, bad memories, negative thoughts, negative emotions. No. Make it a breeding ground of positive thoughts. That is how you have to use your mind. You cannot blame anyone else to give you insult or ignorance or grief. No. It's your mind which has to be trained accordingly. So if you see elderly people in your own house, if you see the successful businessmen or successful sportsmen, if you read their books, you will notice one thing. There is a certain incident which changes the entire life. The course of the life changes because they are using that rough or bad incident to be the milestone in their life. They consider it to be an event which was bad, but the mind has become so receptive that it considers, I have to change my life from this point. Therefore, they become successful. So, extremely beautiful, extremely applicable in each and everyone's life. I would say, rather, if you have friends, and definitely you all have, you can always share this particular verse with them. Whenever you see them struggling because of the mind is irritating them, pulling them down, always share this verse. It's a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. Today's one last verse I will discuss and we'll close. Whether our mind is a friend or a foe, Krishna says, if you conquer the mind, it is your friend. However, if you fail to conquer the mind, then it is your enemy. It is your foe. So, everything boils down to one thing. Today's session is giving us a big, big crux, an essence to absorb that the mind has to be trained by us. I just immediately recollected here a verse of Vani where Pranaji says, Sab bandagi yehi momin jo andar ke mare dushman. There is a foe inside you. If you happen to kill that enemy, the evil mind, if you kill it, then that is the true worship of your life. So, all said and done, we have to remember that the mind is our friend, or it may also become our enemy. How we train it is in our hands. Any doubts regarding this? Anything which you all want to share? Okay. So we quickly revise this in form of questions. I'll take about 4 or 5 minutes and then we close. I'm going to start from the first verse. Who are the legitimate sannyasis as per what Krishna has explained?
Is it those who perform prescribed duties, like without the actions,
Yes.
without
Without,
objects? Sorry.
yes, yes, without becoming focused upon the objects or without asking for results. When one is doing the activities, he is termed to be a real legitimate sannyasi. Okay. In the second verse, Krishna has explained whether karma yoga and sannyas are the same or different. What's the answer?
They're different because sannyas yoga is when you renounce your actions physically, but karma yoga is when you do all your duties, but you don't get attached to the fruit. And it doesn't make sense to only renounce physically, you also must renounce mentally.
Beautiful. Very nice. Very nice, Sangeet. Okay. Now, in the third verse, Krishna says, when you keep practicing yoga, you attain the state of perfection or siddhi. So, how can one attain the state of perfection in yoga? Yes, yes.
They do it through constantly practicing karma yoga to achieve such.
Yes, beautiful. Constantly. And as I said, there is a span of 12 years. After 12 years, if you keep on doing the same thing with sincerity, then one attains the state of perfection. Okay. And for a further elevation after attaining the perfection, what has to be done? After you attain perfection, in the very same, the third verse itself, Krishna says, after attaining perfection in yoga, if you even want to advance further, what should we do? Yeah, Yash, you want to try?
You should meditate and practice tranquility in the mind.
Exactly. You should meditate and practice tranquility. What is tranquility?
peacefulness,
peacefulness, the calmness of mind, along with being focused. Do not forget that. Okay. In the fourth verse, um, okay, Krishna is asking, who is said to be elevated in yoga?
Someone who's not attached to sense objects or to actions.
Exactly. Correct. Beautiful, Sia. What are the sense objects?
Any form of external stimuli?
Yes. Can you name a few?
Colors, sounds, smells, tastes, and textures.
Yes. 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 So the five sense organs and the corresponding five sense objects are there. In the fifth verse, Sri Krishna says, there are two words which I discussed with you all. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhur Atmaiva Ripuratmana. In that, what are the two words that we spoke about?
That you elevate yourself to the power of the mind, and the mind is your friend and your enemy.
Exactly. Yes. Very nice. And the two words from the verses are, do you remember from the verse? If you can see the verse right in front of you.
Is it Atmava and Ripur?
The first word is Bandhur,
Oh,
friend.
Bandhu.
And the second word is Ripur, that is an enemy. So these are very beautiful words. Actually, we should, kind of remember at least these words, if not all, but these words should be remembered. Okay. We also talked about Sri Pranaji's Shopa in Vani, Sab man mein na kachu man mein, right? That one. What is Sri Pranaji saying in that Shopa? If only in a nutshell, can you give me?
if your mind is so empty, the Lord can be reflected on it, meaning that like the Lord is like in your like with your mind.
Yes. It could be filled with negative emotions and grief, etc. But if it is empty of fears, anxieties, then the Lord is reflected in such a mind. Beautiful. Very nice. And the last, the sixth verse, I think I've not copy pasted. I will do that. Whether the mind is our friend or a foe, how do you befriend your mind? What is the trick to befriend your mind? Anyone?
You have to do things that will make your mind happy. You have to have a conversation with yourself and tell yourself to work with your soul to focus on the Lord.
Yes. Yes, beautiful. You give, as a soul, you're having a conversation with the mind and you give your powers to the mind. It becomes more powerful, and because of that, the mind will always try to accompany you or support you. But if you do not understand the nature of the mind, then the mind becomes your enemy because it starts becoming defocused. It starts feeling all the grief, anxieties in it. Then the mind becomes an enemy. So, what is the purpose of our life for every individual on the earth in terms of today what we talked about the mind. What is the purpose of our life? If you all remember, I just mentioned about सब बंदगी यही मोमिन जो अंदर के मारे दुश्मन. If you kill the enemy inside you, that is the mind, the evil deeds of the mind, then you are able to attain the Lord. But if the mind, which is the enemy within you, it will not allow you to attain the Lord. So the focus of our life is to train the mind, to empty the mind, and to attain the Lord with the mind. Please remember this because it's very, very important. And if you see any friends around you who are um, deeply immersed in grief or negative emotions, you can definitely talk to them about this verse in Bhagavad Gita. It will be really helpful for anyone and everyone on earth. So we'll now say the prayer and conclude the session for today. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai.